Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz Interview Series with Portugal-based jazz bassist Cícero Lee. We had a great talk about his new 2022 CD, Resilience. He began his professional career back in 1999, and since then he has been a part of Lisbon's vibrant music scene, recording and performing alongside artists of various musical genres. As a leader, he's recorded 4 albums and continues to grow with each successive release. We cover some good ground here. Enjoy this interview. Hey man, it's great to meet you. Thank you for reaching out to the show, and I'm looking forward to getting into your life and music.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been great being able to meet new people from the States and different parts of the world, so it's great.
Yeah, I find that thrilling myself. So you're in Portugal now?
Yeah, I'm in Portugal. I'm in Cascais.
Okay, wonderful. Before we get into your brand new album, Resilience, which has been kind of the backbone, I think, of all of us that have lived through COVID, I want to know, as an artist, how you survived COVID and ultimately how it changed you.
COVID, that's like a bad remembrance, right? It's not through yet, but I guess I had a very stable career when COVID hit. So I also I'm a teacher, music teacher. I have a music school in Cascais and in Portugal, and a music studio. I'm always dividing my time between teaching and playing. So I guess I could put the playing part in like a pause, and I kept teaching online lessons. But the part where I had to wait to get back to the stage, that was awful.
Let's get into something happier. Talk to me about Resilience. Talk to me about this new album and how it feels now that probably, there's a chance for live shows. The world's waking up a little bit more. We're getting out of that lockdown mode. How does it feel?
So 2022, we already had a ton of gigs. So all of a sudden, COVID went away, and we played a lot of festivals. We played many different venues, a lot of different bands. It was like the perfect timing to release this album, which I composed during COVID. So Resilience is about going through such a difficult period in life, but also a very happy period because I had the time to be with my family, to be with my kids, to compose, which is something that sometimes between gigs and teaching and going from one place to the other, we don't have time to do that. With COVID, the happy part was that I had the time to dedicate myself to my own musical creation, and it was great. I think I really enjoy my Resilience album.
What are you hoping the listener gets from this album?
Many different feelings. The first tune, I think it's all about resilience. I inspired myself with the work of the artist, the clown, because the clown needs to be prepared to let go of himself and like to be able to be made fun of, right? So he has to be resilient to get through that state of mind. And then other tunes like Varanda. Varanda is that's a tune where I want the listener to get the same bucolic vibe of like looking at the countryside of Portugal. Papoit blues. That's a blues inspired by the Angolan dialect. So it's about happiness, smile for the cliches. It's just about the cliche in jazz and being able to have fun with jazz. All sorts of different moods. It's a very diverse album. It was my intention. Yeah, that's it.
So you've been at this since 1999. You have 4 albums now. But let's go back earlier on. How did you get interested initially in jazz? How did this become your focal point?
So it's a family thing because my father, he's also a musician. And actually I grew up listening to jazz. So it's kind of it's in the blood. It's a family thing. So I basically grew up starting to play, and when I was 14, I started like doing small gigs, and I became a professional when I was 17, playing with a lot of Portuguese top bands in jazz. So I was kind of a precocious musician.
What about influences? Who were you listening to? Who have been really seminal for you to find your personal voice?
Well, many, really many. We just had the passing of the great Mick Goodrick yesterday. I would like to pay my respects for Mick, because one of the albums I grew up listening to was the Jack DeJohnette's special edition. And there's a concert. I think it's Montreal Jazz Festival somewhere in the 90s, where you have Jack DeJohnette, Mick Goodrick, Pat Metheny, and that's one of the records I've listened the most. And then I also listened to a lot of Hermeto Pascoal, the Brazilian jazz player. A lot of ECM records, a lot of Jaco Pastorius, a lot of Weather Report, a lot of Chicoria, Michael Brecker, a lot of John Patitucci. So yeah, it's just to name a few.
It's never a surprise to me that jazz, which is the ultimate American export, is all over the world. But I am always fascinated as to how each individual country fosters that jazz community and environment. What's it like in Portugal? How inviting and warm has it been for you in your life to be a jazz musician in Portugal?
It has been great. First of all, because we have a lot of African influence. So there's a lot of the African music from Angola, from Mozambique, from Cape Verde. Those kinds of music, like they merge with the jazz scene, and the jazz scene in Lisbon has been like becoming a huge thing. A lot of American players came to live here, like Chris Cheek. Maybe 1 week ago, Aaron Parks was here like for 2 weeks, hanging out with the cats from the jazz scene. And we have a lot of amazing jazz players, a lot of great horn players, great drummers, amazing pianists, and the jazz scene here is really vibrant. And many of these folks, they've been going out and they've been playing in New York and all over Europe. So it's something that grows. We respect the American tradition here, which is something that goes along with your thoughts.
The one thing about being a professional musician is there's so many aspects to it. But what is it that you like the most? What is it that motivates you every day to be a professional musician?
Meeting people like you. That's the ultimate truth about being a musician, especially a jazz musician, because there's a lot of bonding in the community. Because jazz is about, at least for me, is about the sharing part of music, the sharing of ideas. So being able to travel, being able to meet new people, those are like the main aspects, and because of that, we create more and better music.
If you could get into a time machine and go back in time and see any jazz musician anywhere, where would you go? Who would you love to see live?
I would love to go back to the time when Jaco Pastorius was playing at the 55 Club in New York, and he had a weekly gig. That's where I would like to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I've heard a lot about that. I studied in New York at the Bass Collective, and my teacher outside the Bass Collective was the late Jeff Andrews, and he kept talking to me and telling me about that time when I was absolutely fascinated about it.
Why do you love jazz?
Why do I love jazz?
Hmm.
Well, that's a tricky question, actually. I think I love jazz because it really lets me be who I want to be. Yeah, that's it.
Wonderful.
Simple.
Everyone out there has a perception of you, your family, your friends, your fans, but ultimately you live your life. What is your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I think I'm someone who's always in the look of something, always searching, especially as a musician. I'm always searching. I'm always trying to get better. It's something I think it's really difficult to achieve in a personal level, like to always be better, always surpass myself. But I think at least in music, that's something a little bit more attainable. So I think that kind of defines my living experience.
Wonderful. Cícero, if anybody wants to get resilience, learn more about your live shows and your world in music, where can they go and do that?
Well, mostly they can go to Instagram because I think that's where we tend to spend more time now. Instagram, my tag is Cícero M Lee, CICRO-M Lee Lee. Also my website cicerolee.com, and my Spotify page, Apple Music. I'm on Apple Music, Pandora. I think I'm there as well. So social media. I'm all over the place.
Absolutely. Cícero, thank you for taking time out today. Good luck with the album and live shows and everything that comes up. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Your questions were amazing. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I had a great time.
Yeah, me too, man. Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest cats in Portugal, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. Thanks to Cícero for his time, music, and story. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com. And for everything Neon Jazz, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.